Hello my beautiful friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we have my August TBR. We're gonna go ahead and get into this. Now, I have tried to set a limit on how many books I get to my TBR because sometimes I just don't stick to them. Sometimes I just don't read that much, but I have been doing really great with both sticking to a lot of my TBR and reading a lot, so I did put 20 books on here. I was gonna cut it back because I had 20 on last month's, but there were just too many books that I wanted to read, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the first book that I want to mention is My Beautiful Enemy by Sherry Thomas. This is a historical romance, and this is actually the book that we are going to be reading on my Patreon for our book club. If you join the So Delicious tier, which is the it's the one that does the most. I do have a 7-day free trial. If you want to try it out, come see if you want to hang out with us. We are a super fun group. But we do a book club where everyone can submit a title and then we vote on it. Usually, sometimes we do it differently. But this month, the book that won is My Beautiful Enemy, so I'm very excited about that. We usually always have our live show for that and on the last Wednesday of the month, and then I usually do either an exclusive review video or an exclusive reading vlog for the book that we pick. So excited about that. The next one is A Chance at Love by Beverly Jenkins. So this one is for the Rake Appreciation Society book club that I do with Jen. This is our historical romance book club. This is our summer session. So the other book that is for this book club is The Beast of Clan Kincaid, which I already read in July. So it's that book, which is a Highlander romance, and then it is this Beverly Jenkins book. And our live show for this will be August 20th on Jen's channel. Okay, so now the rest of these are just books that I just want to read. So the next one is Left of Forever by Tarah Dewitt. This has been on my radar for a very long time. I had an arc of it, I didn't get to it, I have the audio, I still haven't gotten to it, but this month it is happening. I've heard this is amazing. I'm so excited about it. I really love Tarah DeWitt. I know this is a second chance romance, which is my favorite trope, so very hyped for that one. The next one is another book that I am so excited for. It is Scoundrel, Take Me Away by Louisa Darling. I recently read her earlier this year. I did some reading vlogs. I've talked about her a lot on here. She's a new historical romance author. This is only, I believe, her third full book. She also has a novella. And I'm dying for this. I've loved everything that I've read from her so far. I haven't read the novella, but I read the 2 other books and I thought they were amazing. Okay, so now the next few books are books that my patrons have suggested for me to read, and I will review them, vlog them here. One will probably be on Patreon. So 3 of these are books that were on my TBR last month I didn't get to that I wanted to just carry over, and one of them is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. I know this is very well loved. I've had so many people say that they think I specifically will love this, and I've read a lot of Brandon Sanderson's books, I just haven't read this one yet, so very excited to get back to my beloved Brandy Sandy. And then another one that was picked by my patron is Shardless by Stephanie Fisher. This is a book that I really wanted to get to in July, and it's quite long. I got the audiobook. I believe it's in Audible Plus, and it's quite a long audiobook, and sometimes I feel like my attention span doesn't do great with long audiobooks. Sometimes they totally work for me. It just depends on the mood that I'm in. Anyway, I definitely want to continue that. That is a fantasy romance, I believe, or a fantasy with a strong romantic subplot. And the other one is The Prince of Prohibition by Marilyn Marks. This is a fantasy set in the Gilded Age, or Prohibition time period, probably, so maybe 1920s. I'm very hyped about this one. I really want to get to this one as well. Okay, and then a few others. We have 3 others that were suggested by my patrons. The Matchmaker, Sterling Story by Elle Nicoll. This is a contemporary romance that I've heard is great. Very excited about that one. The Work of Art by Mimi Mathews. I've heard great things about this book, and this is the beginning of I think it's her Somerset series, and I am dying to read this one. I sometimes just keep forgetting about it, so happy that a patron recommended that. Sorry, I just said that one. Viscount in Love by Eloisa James. This is another one that has been on my radar because of this specific patron who read it and loved it, and this is the 2nd month in a row she's recommended it to me, so it's definitely happening this month. I used a credit to get the audiobook, so it's happening for sure. Okay, so now the rest of these are just books that I just want to read. Some of them are books from my shelves, some of them are new books I picked up, so Now, this one is actually because of my Patreon book club book for July. We read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It ended up being my favorite read of the month. I fell in love with that book so much. I will talk about that in my wrap-up that will be coming hopefully soon. So because I love that so much, I've only read 2 other books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read Evelyn Hugo, which I adore. I love that book so much. And then I also read After I Do, which I didn't care for. I gave that one 2 stars. I found it to be pretty disappointing. So ever since I read After I Do, I've been real hesitant to get back into Taylor Jenkins Reid's books because I feel like sometimes they work for me, sometimes they don't. But this one, One True Loves, is the book that I picked. It's one that actually has interested me for forever, I feel like. This is about a woman whose husband, I believe, is a pilot, and he goes flying, and he dies. She grieves and mourns him, and then she falls in love with somebody else, and then he shows back up actually not dead, and then she has to choose between the 2. And I just feel like if anyone can make this story work, it's Taylor Jenkins Reid. I was so blown away by Atmosphere and the depth of the relationship and the nuance in I'm not going to wrap it up yet, but I loved it. So I'm so excited about that one. And then another one I'm very excited about is The Wolf King by Lauren Palphreyman. I've had this in my Kindle library forever. And I think it got to the point where I kind of forgot what it was about, and I couldn't remember because of the cover. I couldn't remember if it was a fantasy book or if it was a fantasy romance, and so it just kind of sat there forever. And then I've recently heard a few people talking about it, like Sam from Sam Reads a Little specifically, I know really loves it, and that put it back on my radar again. So actually, as I'm filming this, I'm currently reading it. I'm almost done with it, so I'll definitely be done with it before you see this video. But yeah, this is fantasy romance. I believe it has a take on werewolves. I believe. It has a take on werewolves. They're like Highlander werewolves. It's narrated by Shane East. I'm having a good time. Okay, so now the next one is Thorns and Fire by Helen Scheuerer. I probably am pronouncing her name wrong. This is the second book in her new fantasy romance, which is a spin-off from the Legends of Thesmar series, and I really enjoyed book 1, so I'm very excited about book 2. And then I have, okay, so this is a book that is, so I have 2 books on here, actually. I have 2 books on here that are from my Read It or Unhaul It series, and one of them is going to be Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I have to read this month or I have to unhaul it. And the other one is this book. This hasn't been on my TBR that long, but this is The Brightest Light of Sunshine by Lisina Coney. So I've seen this cover going around. I feel like people say it's very emotional. I picked it up randomly at the bookstore one day, and it's just been sitting there staring at me, and I just haven't really had a great desire or need to get into it until I've been going through all of my books, purging a lot, and I was like, oh, I want to read this. So this is about a young woman. She's 22. She has some trauma. She is healing. She's ready to start dating again. And then there is our hero who doesn't really want to have a relationship, but it sounds like they fall in love. Anyway, wait a minute, what? He's got a little sister that he's taking care of. So yeah, I'm super excited about this one. I really hope to love it. And so these 2, in my continuing Read It or Unhaul It, I've unhauled so many books recently. These 2 are on the chopping block now. I have to read these this month or I have to unhaul them. That's how the game works. Okay, so now the next book is actually a book that has also been on my radar ever since I heard about it, and then it came out, and it has been sitting on my Kindle forever. But I've been nervous about it, and it is The Lovely Return by Carian Cole. I really love a lot of Carian Cole's books. I love her writing, I love her emotions, I love her characters, I love her romances. But this one deals, I believe, with reincarnation and grief, and I wasn't quite sure how I feel about that because, honestly, I haven't really read a ton of romances that involve reincarnation, so I'm just sort of like, I don't know that I have a strong opinion on either way how I feel about it, but I do really like this author. I did hear that it was getting an audio, and then I'm an influencer for Libro FM, so as part of their ARC program, you can browse the books they have available, and this was one of them. So this is an audiobook ARC that I am very excited about. I don't know actually when the audiobook releases. Usually Libro FM has the books releasing that month when they offer them to influencers So I'm super excited about that one. Can't wait for it. Okay, and then I have a fantasy book, The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hogdson. This also was an audio influencer arc from Libro.fm, and then one of my patrons, Benet, just recently read it and loved it. And I know I have a few other fantasy reader friends who really love this book, so I'm very excited about that one. Okay, and then I have a couple of physical books here. The rest of them are all physical books. So this is a recent purchase. It's The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. The first book in this series is The Spell Shop. It's very cozy, a little bit of romantasy. I just loved The Spell Shop. I thought it was so charming and so cute and so fun. And it's one of the few cozy books that just really worked for me, and I'm kind of feeling like I want a comforting cozy read, so I picked this up as soon as I saw it was out, and I definitely want to read it this month. And then I have another book that has beautiful sprayed edges, like look at that. That like galaxy and potion bottle on the front, like it's very pretty. It is A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. I have not read this author before. I've seen her TikToks. Of course, I've seen her TikToks. She does that funny series about her, or she used to do it about her husband trying to make him a romance hero. I've heard a few romantasy friends who really liked this book. So I just picked it up because I saw it at the bookstore and I recognized it from my friends talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want to read that one. So A Forbidden Alchemy, it's a beautiful edition. It's a beautiful book. Okay, and then I have the last two books on my TBR are historical romances. So one of them is A Rose in Winter by Kathleen Woodiwiss. I have yet to read a Kathleen Woodiwiss. There are so many books that I've really been tempted to read, books that I thought would maybe be my first pick. And then as I was going through my bookshelves, I found this edition that I have. I also have like a trade paperback, which is very interesting with the exact same cover, but I love mass markets, so I just grabbed this one for today. So I have two editions of this book, and I figure I'd better read it. So I don't really know what this is about. It says, wed to a stranger she could not betray. She was possessed by a love she could never forget. I just love this cover so much. It's so beautiful. And it's about time I read Kathleen Woodiwiss because I finally read Judith McNaught this year because of Patreon. Freaking love Judith McNaught now. I'm a huge fan of her, and so I really want to also be a fan of Kathleen Woodiwiss. So this one is happening, hopefully. And then the last book on my TBR is one that I just picked. I was going through I have a lot of my mass markets that I've put away as we're kind of, I don't know if I've mentioned it here, we're doing a little bit of remodeling in our house, and one of the rooms we're remodeling is this room right here. So I'm not sure what my videos for the next couple months are going to look like. This may be the last video that I film with my bookshelf behind me like that. But I have put a lot of my mass market historicals away, like store them so that we can gut this room and redo it. So I was going through the few that I had left, and I saw this book here, Ritual of Proof by Dara Joy, which just has the most iconic step back I've ever seen in my life. And this is an interesting one because I feel like this has fantasy element to it for sure, because in this world, women hold the power. A titled man can't do much but accept his fate. His sole purpose is to secure a good match and hope that his bed price is high enough. Our hero has every trait necessary for that price. He's staggeringly handsome, irresistible, very sensual, but he's also very willful. He refuses to be taken by just any woman merely because she can afford him. Like, this just sounds so much fun. I can't even handle it. And then the one woman who comes to claim him, she's bold. She marries him. She offers him the security of her name and position, but there are forces conspiring against her, and she has to summon all of her considerable influence to fight for their survival. And yeah, I'm so hyped about this. I've never heard a single person review this on any book channel, like not on BookTube, not on Bookstagram, not on BookTok. I've not heard a single person review this, so that's not to say they haven't, right? I just haven't heard of it. So yeah, reading that blurb and seeing the step back, I just barely grabbed this right before I filmed this video because I was like, I want another historical for my shelves. I want another physical copy, and this is a high priority. So anyway, there you have it, my friends. Those are the books that I want to read this month. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please let me know which book you think I should prioritize for my list if you have an opinion. And if you want to share with me a book you're excited to read, I would love to hear that as well. And if you just want to leave me an emoji and let me know you were here, please leave me a pink heart because of my pink sweatshirt. And every time I wear hot pink, I usually get a comment from someone who says that it clashes with my red hair, but I don't care because I like pink. So, alright my friends, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in my next video.